So Ilia Topouria, he just moved up to another weight division and he absolutely dominated, even more than he did in his own weight class. When he went against the past's legends, if it was Volkanovski, Max Holloway, all of these guys, he didn't do it in the first round. But the crazy thing about Charles Oliveira is that he, and Ilia said this, is that Charles Oliveira constantly moves forward. And Ilia said in an interview the reason why he thinks that he's going to knock him out in the first round is because the difficulties Ilia has is to close the gap. Maybe not the difficulties, but the time it takes. The reason why he knocks people out in the third round, let's say, rather than the first round. Because he needs to close the gap. But with Charles Oliveira, what he does is that he moves forward. Because his game plan, Charles Oliveira, is that if he pressures the other fighter more and more, it will lead to the other fighter having to take him down. Or it will also lead to Charles Oliveira getting closer in order to take him down. And what Charles Oliveira often does is when he gets knocked down, he puts up a guard. And most people are scared to go through that guard because he's very good at submissions, at footlocks and whatever. But what Ilia Topouria did, he just knocked him out. Not down, out, he was out. So he couldn't pull guard, even if he wanted to. Now, Charles Oliveira is a legend, right? His story in the UFC, how he went from losing to becoming this champion, is really crazy. And I think they're doing a movie or a documentary about his life in the favelas and how he got to the UFC. But yeah, that is crazy. Let's see. Yeah, it's crazy that Ilia Topouria could knock him out in the first round, and he said it before, like weeks before. He said in the first round, I am going to knock him out. And another crazy thing is that Ilia Topouria actually celebrated before his win, before the match even began. Like the day before, he and all of his friends and his team and everybody had a party. They were celebrating his win. And he was saying thank you to everybody to getting me here for this win, blah blah blah. And they were literally celebrating. Now, I understand that he's manifesting. But if I were one of his friends, I would feel so uncomfortable. Because it's like, I want to celebrate, but I don't have the same belief that you do. Or I don't have the same, mind to know what you're thinking and what you know, to know that you are going to win. Because it's a fight. Anything can happen. It's not like Madrid is playing against a team from, a Swedish city like Borås. That's not a thing. It's a fight between the two best fighters in the world. And anything can happen. So what it does in these scenarios is super risky. Because if he wins, everybody's going to say, wow, that's crazy, right? Super good. But if he loses, that's where he's risking so much. Because if he loses, first of all, he won't do this again. Second of all, he will lose so much confidence. And even if he goes into his next fight not doing this, but still thinking that I'm going to win, I have already won, it won't have the same effect. Because he's tried it once and he's lost. Now, I'm not a champion. I'm not a UFC world champion. So maybe he knows more than I do. And to get where he is today, he probably have taken a lot of risks. But what is next for him? Alright, there's 3 names that he can face. The first one is Paddy. The second one is Islam. And the third one is Arman. I really want to see him versus Islam. I actually wanted to see him versus Islam before Charles. I wanted him to go to Islam directly. But now he's beaten Charles. Now he's the champion. I want Islam to win his fight in his new weight class because he also moved up, right? Ilia moved up to his weight class and then Islam moved up to another weight class. But the thing now is I want Islam to go down, back to his weight class and fight with Ilia Topouria. If he wins, he gets his title back. If he doesn't, Ilia defends it. And the thing with Georgian people, they are the ones that can beat the Chechenian people, it looks like, right? Because Merab Vashili faced a Dagestani guy. He faced Habib's cousin. And he was the one that dominated and won. Now, Ilia and Merab don't really have the same fighting style, I understand. But still, it's maybe something in their mind or something in their wrestling techniques that they do in that part of the world that just matches with each other. Because if two Dagestani dudes fight with each other, they know how they fight, right? And Georgia is pretty close to Russia and Dagestan, so they probably know how both of the countries fight, so it's easier for them to defend and also attack. But for the people in the US and Europe, they have no idea. They have an idea, but not as much as that part of the world. So if two Dagestani dudes fought with each other, it would be very similar. Now, yeah, maybe I explained it. Now I explained it good. Alright, so I think he would... I don't want to see him against Arman because he's from Armenia and they're both Christians, and Georgia and Armenia is pretty close to each other. So I don't want to see those two fight. I would rather see... First, I want to see Ilia versus Islam. And I want Ilia to win. And then I want Paddy to fight another high level dude, right? I want to see him fight against a top 2-3 contender. I don't know who that will be right now. Maybe it will be Arman, maybe. And if he beats Arman, yeah, we can do Paddy versus Arman. That would be nice. And then Paddy wins, and then Paddy versus Ilia. That would be probably the dream matchup that UFC could do right now. Because if Ilia loses, or if Islam loses, they will lose such a big card. And it's at their peak now. Even if Ilia wins another fight, even if he wins against Paddy, even if he wins against Arman, it's not going to be... the Islam fight won't be that much bigger. So this is a risk and reward ratio to take into consideration. Do you want to fight against... do the UFC want him to do one more fight before the super fight, which is Ilia versus Islam, or do they wanna go straight to the point, Ilia versus Islam, take the money, take the bag before it disappears? Because if they lose, it's going to, if one of them loses, it's going to bring that card down so much. Compared, that's a huge difference compared to how much another win for both of them would do in increasing the numbers, right? Do you follow? If one of them loses, it's going to take away so many viewers, so many pay-per-views if they fight. And if they both win in other fights, it's going to increase their fight a bit, but not as much as the loss of one of them.